Hello, everybody. Happy May 29th, 2020. My name is Christopher Saunders, and this is the Connecticut Sports Talent Show, where we talk all things talent in Connecticut. And on today's show, we have the former offensive coordinator for Sheehan and now the first-year head coach for Norwalk. His name, Pat Miller. Pat, thanks so much for being able to come on today.
Thanks for having me, Chris. Love what you've been doing.
I really do appreciate it. First off, how are you dealing with this quarantine? I know you work in the food distribution. I work third shift. So we're essential workers. We're important.
Right. That's right. It's been tough, but you feel like you're doing something good for everybody and trying to stay in the front lines of it and keep everything supplied. So the stores are out of toilet paper. That's my fault. So
I know. I don't know what's up with the toilet paper. That's
first thing to go. First thing to go.
Toilet paper, and then don't forget, chicken and meat is second and third.
Right. That's right.
You know what? Let's get right down to business. Let's talk some football. Before we get into your time or what led you to Norwalk, and even before you became the OC at Sheehan, just kind of tell me about your journey to becoming a coach.
Yeah, coaching is always something that I wanted to do. When I was little, we were playing football in the backyard. All my friends would argue about who gets to be Randy Moss, who gets to be Emmitt Smith, who gets to be Drew Bledsoe. I was Coach Carl, who was my first youth football coach. That's who I always looked up to, and I always wanted to be a coach. I played high school football at Sheehan for Coach Ferrazzi. Went on, played at Bridgeton Academy, then Plymouth State. And then when I got out of college, he called me up, asked me if I was ready to start coaching. And if you played high school football or any high school sport, when your coach calls you and asks you to do something, you're going to say yes, regardless if it's, it was something I wanted to do all the time anyways, but I would have said yes even if it wasn't. But yeah, that first staff I walked into at Sheehan is really a who's who of Connecticut high school football right now. Obviously, you had Coach Ferrazzi, who I'm biased, but I believe he's the best coach in football regardless of level. And all I can say about him is, those who know that he's the best. And I could spend an entire interview about what he's meant to me and to my career and everything he's done there. But we also had Gaetan Rodriguez, who's now the head coach at Torrington. We had Matt McKinnon, who's the head coach at Weathersfield. We also had Chase Mayusier, who's now the offensive coordinator at Simsbury. And you see the great things that staff is doing, especially on the offensive side of the ball. We actually had Mitch Egazarian, who just got named the head coach of Talon last week. Anthony Lowell, who's the offensive coordinator at Bristol Eastern now. Lucian Safaro, who's been coaching football for longer than I've been alive. So, I was blessed to get on a staff like that. And I remember walking into my first meeting thinking I knew football. And then I listened to these guys going back and forth. And I'm like, what even is a football? I couldn't even follow what they were talking about. All I could say that I did well was I just showed up. My jobs were I was going to signal the offensive plays and I was going to run the scout teams. And I just kept showing up and trying to learn from those guys. And that was just my first staff. We ended up getting Bill Garrity, who used to be the head coach at Xavier. We had Dave Walker, who now coaches Avon Old Farms. We had John Bird, who was an offensive coordinator at East Haven the past couple of years. Just the talent of coaches that I've been around has really I've really been blessed to learn from those guys. But I just kind of worked my way up the ladder, became a position coach. First job was with receivers with another great coach, Nick Malqui. And I coached special teams. Then I got moved back to the offensive line, did a run game coordinator, and then past 4 years, been the offensive coordinator at Sheehan. We were able to score a lot of points, and we had a lot of fun doing it. I also got to learn from a bunch of great coaches. Coach Ferrazzi opened doors for me in the All-Star game, being able to coach in a couple of those. And a couple of these names might sound familiar, Chris, but I've got to know Andy Guion, Brian Mazzone, Chad Neal, Eric Knickerbocker, Jason Bruin, Tim Shea. I've been able to learn from all these guys. So I've truly been blessed.
I've had almost all those coaches.
Yes, I know. I went through your entire back catalog and saw all those guys and watched all those things. So
I'm working on trying to get the coach from Talon. I'm working on it. He hasn't responded back, though, because I expressed interest. He messaged me, and then I said, hey, here's some logistics. Why don't you come?
Right.
I haven't heard back yet, so I might have scared him away.
Get on it, Mitch.
But man, just the coaches that you said, and just
Yeah,
the coaching tree. I mean, you think about the NFL. Look how many head coaches are from Andy Reid's tree. Look at Bill
absolutely.
Belichick. It sounds just like that. And the coaches that you see now from the tree of Coach Ferrazzi are now being not just from within the conference of which Sheehan is in, but now it's in the NVL. It's in just name the conference now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's you see those things on like Monday Night Football, those little graphics where they show a team picture and they circle the coach, and that was us.
That's great. And Coach Ferrazzi, someone I talked to, spoke very highly of all the coaches, would not give himself any credit. Even when I said, like, hey, are you the Cliff Kingsbury? And he was like, nope, nope. I'm like, come on, dude, trying to pull it out of you.
Right. Yeah. So I say, and that's Coach Ferrazzi. He's gonna,
Mm.
always deflect everything to the people around him. But he's the best there is. And I say that we combined to make Cliff Kingsbury. I have Cliff's physique and good looks, and Coach Ferrazzi has his football knowledge. So
Hey, but you definitely had as far as the point scoring, because I got to tell you, and to see the amount of points scored just in the past season, it was ridiculous. And for you as the offensive coordinator, it must have felt like you were coming in to work every day. Like, how am I going to be able to get this guy or that guy his touchdowns? Because it's just like so much talent was around you.
no, seriously. I know every coach says this, but it was. I think I had the easiest job in the state with the talent of guys that I had around, and I know every coach says that great talent makes you look really smart, and it's the truth because every football play ever designed is designed to score. Um, Never has a coach made up a play and go, "You're going to run 4 yards and then get tackled." They're all designed to work. So having those guys, having Jordan Davis and Terrence Bogan and Riley Bajonberg and Brady McCarthy and all those guys that can just make plays, we believe we could score from anywhere on the field because of those guys.
Was there any point during the past season where, because obviously the goal, and I even asked this to Coach Ferrazzi when he said, the beginning of the preseason and the offseason, just the workouts itself, was when he kind of felt like there could be something special. Did you have that same feeling?
Yeah, absolutely. It was especially that senior class. Um, they expected to win every single time they took the field, even from when they were sophomores. They were stunned when we lost. I think if we lined up against the New England Patriots, they'd expect to win. They were one in eighth grade, and but yeah, just the competitive nature, and we knew we were going to have a chance. A lot of things kind of got to go your way, especially at a small school. You got to stay healthy, which for the most part we did. Ball's got to bounce your way a couple times, and everything worked out, and we were able to raise that trophy at the end of the year. So, but yeah, we had a feeling that we had a chance to do something special.
And after the season, was it hard for you to say goodbye to the staff and to the players that were returning, because you had an opportunity to better yourself as a coach?
Yeah, it was truly was one of the hardest things I ever had to do. You spend 9 years in a place, and for me even longer. That's where I went, and there were guys that I coached that I played with their older brothers, and just knowing the school, knowing the teachers, knowing the security guards and the custodians, and just knowing who's who, and um, all that. I'm gonna miss everybody there, but I told them as I was leaving, it's the truth. The only thing that's changed is the color of my T-shirt, and I'm not gonna be yelling at them all the time. I'm still there for all those guys, and I hope they know that they can always reach out to me. So that's all that really changed.
What led you to Norwalk? Because that's a school that has had, history of being very good, and there's a lot of talent. I mean, I wrote, because I was trying to do some research on the school, and the
Yep.
one thing I kept writing down continuously in my notes is it untapped, 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 untapped potential with this roster.
Yeah. There's been so much talent, and you watch the film and you can tell they've been really well coached too. Coach Ireland, I think, did a fantastic job with them. And, you look at the record at 5-5, but they recover an onside kick against Danbury. They stop a 2-point conversion against Ludlow. This is a 7-3 team in the FCIAC. The talent's there. I retained a lot of the coaches on the staff, a lot of very talented coaches. It's funny when I applied, I had applied to other schools, and, Norwalk, Mr. Marchetti called me and set up an interview. And I remember telling my girlfriend, Sarah Wine, who's actually the head softball coach at Sheehan, so I'm not even the best coach in my apartment. But I remember telling her, it's like an hour away from where we live. I don't know if it's something that I take if they offered. And, she told me, go see what they're about. So I went, and as soon as I walked in, I knew this was going to be a place for me. And talking to Mr. Marchetti, the athletic director, and Mr. Roberts, the principal, and the other coaches they had on staff who were in on the interview, it was such a comfortable environment to walk into. Mr. Marchetti's a football guy. He used to be the offensive coordinator at Trumbull, so he's a guy who gets it. And I just felt like we clicked right away. And then I come home and I start putting on the film and learn about the kids and doing all these things. And by the time I had my second interview, I'm like, I don't care if this place is 7 hours away. This is a place that I want to be. And it was the morning after my second interview that Mr. Marchetti called and offered. And, I actually missed his call the first time. And then I had to call him back, and we finally got on the line. And, I accepted right then and there. And the rest you can say is history.
That's great to hear, man. I love hearing about the story of kind of what led you to the program you're at now. And you mentioned how you put on the film of some of the players, if not the team itself. Let's go over some of the guys. We'll go over the seniors first to give them the respect because they've been there for 4 years.
Yep.
Let's first start with the quarterback, Tommy Brown.
Yeah, Tommy is everything that Tommy's great. Tommy, I can't ask for a better kid.
And staying on that side of the ball, on the offensive side, Lamoris House, which I'm not going to lie to you, he seems like, no pun intended, he could take it to the house quite a bit.
Yeah, Lomo, special. He's a guy. What impressed me about him is he's a basketball kid. And again, I'm just getting to learn these kids. He's a basketball kid, but he would still come down after his practices just to say hi and talk and be in the weight room with the guys. But yeah, he's a spark plug. When he gets the ball, he can go. And like you said, he could take it to the house at any time. He's a big play waiting to happen. But yeah, he's a shifty special player.
And on the defensive side, a senior offensive lineman and defensive tackle, Lorenzo Delfino. This is a massive young man who, again, I don't know that much about football compared to you, Coach, but I just kept going, let me go back. And it's just the constant hits and the passion just comes off the tape.
Yeah, Lorenzo, big, strong kid, and you see that as soon as you walk in and you see him in the weight room. That's the first thing that hits you. But what really stood out to me when he put on his film is actually his athleticism, him getting out on screens and him chasing down ball carriers on defense. He is, like you said, it's great that you said he is competitive. Lorenzo does not like to lose. We try to put him in competitive situations every day, and Lorenzo, he doesn't like to lose, in anything that we do. He's always trying to win and come on top, but he's another one who's just a natural leader that the kids are drawn to.
And for a competitive and talented player on the junior side, someone who, again, just look like you think about, you had a star running back at Sheehan. Now you have a star running back, but now instead of it only being a year because of Bogan and whatnot. Now it's 2 years. And Cameron Edwards, he can catch the ball in the backfield, he can block, and he runs like he's mad.
Yeah, I've been blessed to have coached some really really good running backs, in Terrence Bogan and then Zach Davis before him, and I think Cam's right up there with those guys. He's big, he's fast, he's athletic. He can make you miss, he can run you over. He is special. He can catch out of the backfield. He's got great vision. Cam's really the complete package. I think everybody in Fairfield County knows who he is. I don't think the state knows who he is, but after this year, I think people are going to know who Cam Edwards is.
I hope this video has people understand, like, there's talent in Norwalk, and
Oh yeah.
I live in Watertown. I
Yep.
can tell you right now, whenever the season starts, I'm going to make sure that I'm following Norwalk football.
There you go.
Especially,
Yeah.
there's so much talent here. It's I almost feel like, I understand it's your first year, and I don't want to put high expectations on you, but just like
Oh,
you
great.
said, if the ball just goes, here or there, they're a 7-3 team, and with what you have returning, there's at least 8 wins out there, at least.
We're going to go one day at a time with that. But the expectation is for us to win, and that's what we want to do, and that's what we're working for. But we got guys who can take the ball to the house at any single time. So I won't put a number on it yet. We're just going to try and go out and get the first one, and and then go from there. But I'm very excited, especially being an offensive guy. The talent is off the charts with what we got. So I'm just going to try not to screw it up.
Well, I was about to say, you're not going to screw it up, Coach, but I think because of what this virus has done, it's affected a lot of teams, coaches, and so forth, trying to be able to get their players and everything going. For you being a first-year coach and a head coach in Norwalk, how much difficulty has this been as far as the virus and the pandemic with your program?
Yeah, it's been tough, and Norwalk is one of the worst hit towns with the pandemic, but we're just trying to stay positive throughout the thing, and right now we're still kind of in the get to know each other phase. So we've been having Zoom meetings and been texting them and all that stuff. Just not really talking about X's and O's yet. I want the kids to be able to trust me, and I got to be able to trust them. So they're working. They're still excited. I've said it before. For a generation that's been so criticized for being on their phones all the time and not communicating with each other, how much they crave, how much they can't wait to get back with each other and do those things. It is actually kind of cool to see how they really can't wait to get it back going. So I'm right there with them with that. But yeah, it's been tough, but we're staying positive.
I think this pandemic has proven and shown a couple things, as far as showing that you got to take each day like it's your last, because as we've seen, the senior class for basketball and all the other sports in the winter that were in the playoffs, and then you have the spring sports, were affected to the point where seasons were done. And I think maybe, just maybe, this could be the wake-up call that underclassmen and even younger need, because now they've lived through it. They see it. They understand that their friends are not going to be playing anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's the game is, and all sports are played by tough people, but it's very fragile and it's fleeting. You never know when they're going to take the game away from you, and who could have saw this coming. But like I said, it's at the end of the day, if your senior year of football is the highlight of your life, you're not living right. But we want to make sure that those kids get the recognition that they deserve and all those things. So,
Coach, I really do appreciate you coming on and being able to talk about some Norwalk football, and just get a taste of what could be a very, and hopefully a long and successful next however many years that you coach, man, because there's a lot of talent on the team, but also yourself, Coach, and you have a lot to offer.
I appreciate that, Chris.
That'll wrap things up here in the Connecticut Sports Talent Show. So until next time, stay safe and enjoy the rest of your day, everybody.